we're going to be recovering the seat. As you can see, it's thoroughly ripped. I think we're going to get lucky though. I don't believe there's any foam damage. It's pretty simple. Bought a cover from Fit Covers. They come with a nice little installation guide. It's pretty thorough. They're relatively inexpensive too. It's under $50, only 45 bucks for the cover. We're going to start by removing the staples from around the perimeter of the seat cover. That way we can pry the seat cover off. So I like to use this tool. It's a body trim removal tool, but it's got a nice little sharp edge on it to get underneath the staples. There's probably an actual tool to do this job. However, this works well. Just get underneath the staple, pull up one end, grab your pliers, and pull. Toss in your bucket. You can see right here in the corner, they've got a fold. There's a fold in the new cover, and they believe in the instructions they actually mention that it folds over. So we pay special attention to how it is folded from the factory. That way you can make it look as close to the factory as possible. Another good tip would be to take pictures of how the cover is on before you do this job. That way you know how it goes back together. I know we've all been there. You take something apart and you don't quite remember how it goes back together, or you go and eat lunch and you come back and it's not quite the same as you remember it was. Thankfully you don't have to remove the entire staple with this tool. You just have to get up to get it with the pliers. They are pretty firmly attached though. Be careful once you start going around. There's going to be staples obviously all exposed. Probably would be a good idea to wear puncture-proof gloves, something of that nature. Remove a couple of these staples before I do get punctured by one. Have something to throw your staples in. I'm tossing them in a 5-gallon bucket. Definitely don't want to step on one. Get your tetanus shots if you're choosing not to wear gloves. Be careful pulling them out. As you saw, I don't know if you saw in that last one, I broke it. The staples are pretty brittle. Seems to be a good technique to break one side, pry down and up. Quick, easy, and it gets the other side. Alright, now that all of those are out, and start on the other side. Pry this up over the corners. Still a staple there. Not too bad. Minimal foam damage, a little bit of discoloration, mold maybe. That's probably mold. Overall, not too bad. No serious chunks missing. Should just be able to cover it up and go. Get the bottom side of this cleaned up. Little glass and surface cleaner. Regular old paper towel. Nothing fancy. Use Windex, wet wipes. This isn't anything crazy. Again, watch your fingers where you took out the staples. Even the plastic where the staples goes in, it's still pretty sharp. Would not recommend running your finger along the bottom of the paper towel unless you have a couple layers. Remember, if you're going to use cleaning chemicals, do it in a well-ventilated area. Alright, here is the seat cover. We obviously have the back, the front. They put a nice little lip for you to wrap over and staple. It's been sitting in the boiler room so that it's somewhat pliable. I don't think we're going to need a heat gun to get it to stick, but we'll find out. Like I was talking earlier about the instructions, it actually has an order in which it wants to go together. According to the instructions, it says to start from the front and work your way back, or start from your back and work your way front. I think we are going to start in the front and work our way back. That way I can hide the back edge if I end up with a little bit of extra. There's a little more to hide back here, a little more room at least. So we'll see how this goes. Alright, I am back with gloves, safety glasses. You can never be too safe with power tools, especially tools that shoot metal. Especially tools that shoot metal projectiles at high rates of speed. It says in the instructions to start from the front to the back or the back to the front. Like I said, I'm going to start from the front because it is much smaller and we have this little bend where we have to put the fold in. So I'm going to anchor it. I'm going to toss a center staple in, stretch, anchor on the side, stretch, anchor on the side, and so on and so forth. And then we'll work our way to the back, and then we'll stretch the sides over. So you see how they have the seam? We're going to hide that seam underneath the seat if we can. It seems like that is the way. They don't mention the seam in the instructions actually. Yeah, we're going to fold it over and we're going to toss the seam. So they also mention another important note is make sure it's centered. No one wants the seams off center. It's going to look dumb. So we're going to line it up roughly centered, both sides. This sits in there nicely, so that's centered. And anchor it down. Forgot to mention when I started, we're using Arrow 1/4 inch 6mm staples. Make sure you have a good look at the other side before you get too far into it. Make sure the gaps line up with the seam lines up with the foam correctly. Again, make sure you're centered side to side. You want to have enough material to pull over. Make sure these seams in the right place. Alright, everyone, that is it. We have a finished seat cover. Pretty straightforward process. Staple and go. We have minimal wrinkles, a little bit of dust, but overall, not bad. You can see a little bit where the foam had deteriorated. Considering this four-wheeler is going to see a hard life of creating dirt bike trails, I don't see it being an issue.